and welcome to this episode of Ways to Change the Workplace with myself, Prina Shah. I love what I do. I'm a global leadership coach, a consultant, a trainer, a keynote speaker, a podcaster. I help you to develop your leaders, your teams, and I help you to optimize your organizational cultures. I'm here to help you find ways to change your workplace. Why? Because we spend more time in our waking day at work than we do with our loved ones. It has to be a good place to be. So in this podcast, you can expect a mix of interviews with amazing thought leaders and then some solo episodes from myself as well. Get ready!
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Ways to Change Your Workplace podcast with myself, Prina Shah. And I'm very, very excited to be finally introducing you today to my friend, Joeri Schilders, who's all the way from the Netherlands, all the way in cold Netherlands now. You've given up the sun, Joeri. What's up?
I've given up the sun because, too much sun isn't good for you either. All this lovely weather and beaches. I thought, let's go back to a place with a bit of rain and drizzle and just grey, miserable UK-like weather most of the year. We moved back because we were cooped up during COVID for about 2 years in Singapore because we all had to, all cooped up. And we decided to go somewhere else because we got a bit tired of living on a hot and steamy island.
Yeah.
My now wife got an opportunity to work in the Netherlands, and that's why we moved over here. So I'm back, and I'm back at where I came from, which is a bit weird after 25 years.
Full circle. And for people who don't know, I'm going to do a bit of an intro to Joeri, if I may. It's more of a personal introduction. So the professional introduction is coming. But I've known Joeri since the pandemic, actually, Joeri. Oh my gosh. Yep. And I would have to say Joeri has become a frientor to me. I have learned so much from you, Joeri, that I don't think even you know about. So I cannot even thank you enough. One of the biggest things I learned from Joeri, and this is when I was setting up my business, I did a course that he and my friend Leanne ran virtually, VP. What was it called?
Virtually possible. Because people thought it was virtually impossible to take all this online. We said, no, it is virtually possible. Nice pun on the name.
Virtually possible, 100%. And thank you for all of the lessons. And you're still in my head, by the way, at times when I'm doing stuff like, no, Joeri's taught us this. So it's still there. And today, Joeri, I want to talk to you about how we can take advantage of video communication. Ironic that we're on audio, but for the visual people, this is also on YouTube. So check out my YouTube and Joeri's YouTube. My God, he's a superstar. You need to check out his YouTube. And he's very modest. But before we kick off, Joeri, what do you do in your own words and why do you do it?
I do two main things. So I basically help people, I like to say, create, build, and share better ideas. Years ago when I started, I would have said, I'm an innovation catalyst or I'm an innovation consultant.
Yeah.
But innovation is a very loaded word. So if we backtrack a bit, so my degree is in Mandarin for international business and purpose, nothing to do with what I do now. But it brought me to China. I worked there for so many years in small consultancies and training companies, got into facilitation, dealing with groups of people. And then I think it was 2007, I joined one, at that time, the largest independent innovation agencies in the world. And got to apply all that learning to innovation. So to helping people solve problems and launch new products and rethink their business models and find new and different ways to connect with customers. Nice creative work in a business setting. And then I've been doing that ever since. I just do it for myself. And I've been doing this for myself for the last 10 years with a group of friends. Because for people listening, and if you've ever worked with me, I used to always say associates. It's exactly the same thing, people. If you've heard me say associates, I just call them associates because working with a group of friends, when you're working with a big Fortune 500 company, they don't always like that word. So we say, they're not friends, they're not freelancers, they're associates. But at the end of the day, it's a group of 10, 15 friends I've been working with for years. We work with clients on solving their problems. We inject some fresh insights and ideas into what they need. We help them launch stuff. So they go, hey, we have an idea. What do we do with it now? Or sometimes they're not even working on the right challenge. So getting the upfront bit right to make sure that we ask the right questions we started from the right track. To avoid it, 6 months later, we've launched something that nobody needs. It's just a big waste of time, energy, and money. And while I was doing this, I got all these requests from clients who said, can you help us run a brainstorm? Or can you help us, how do you test ideas? Can you run a 2-hour workshop on this? And they were usually small bits of work for which often there was no budget and no real priority, but it was like a nice to have.
Yeah.
I then thought, look, I'm not really going to focus too much on that, because what am I going to charge for a 3-hour brainstorm on a Friday afternoon? We like to stick to bigger, more meaty strategic project. I hate that word, strategic, but you know what I mean? Kind of more bigger, multifaceted stages, longer term, go deeper into the challenges at hand.
Yeah.
So what I started doing is create these short videos on YouTube that were all about that. So if somebody would go, can you help us with a 3-hour brainstorm for our Christmas party? I would say, but we don't do this, but got a couple of videos over here that will tell you what to do before, during, and after. 3 5-minute videos with a couple of downloads, and just do it yourself, DIY it. And that turned out to be very useful for 2 reasons. Because one, people liked it. Yeah. And then my comment after that would always be, here's some free stuff. Go watch it. Do it yourself. It's downloadable. Feel free. Yep. If you want more, give me a call. And the other one I did, it was of course a nice bit of marketing tool. Things I could share on LinkedIn, I could share with clients. So you kind of knew what we were working on. It gives a face to what can be seen as like a business agency, a creative agency. So it made it easier for people to connect with me. It was a great marketing tool, and I've been doing it ever since. So it's kind of running the business in itself, kind of creative projects. Yeah. And then kind of I create content around that, mainly through videos.
Now, your business is called?
The Magic Sauce.
The Magic Sauce. And please, 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 listeners, Joeri is very modest here. You need to check out his video skills. It is something else on his YouTube channel, which I'm going to link to the show notes. And Joeri, today I want to talk to you about how we can take advantage of video communication in the workplace, given that the world of work has changed and continues to evolve. So I want your thoughts on the current state, and I really want to pick your brain about the future as well, the potential future, right?
Nice.
So the majority of us, I would say, probably now are working in a hybrid environment. Therefore, I feel, especially from my client's perspective, Joeri, video has just really been amped up, whether it be this kind of a Zoom or a Teams meeting, or even global teams sending each other videos and connecting with each other through the medium of video. It has really changed from a workplace perspective, which is fascinating. And I want to ask you why, the big question first off, why should leaders use video communication?
Well, why shouldn't they? It's readily available. It's free. It's in your hands. We have a little device in our hands. For the people watching, I'm just holding up my phone. Somebody once told me that this thing holds more computational power than Ronald Reagan had at his hands in the 80s, and maybe even Bill Clinton. I don't know about that. But my point is, why not? It's readily available. And what video does is an easy way to give a lot more color and a lot more context to what you're doing, like we're doing now. If you are listening to this, I'm going to try to be as animated as possible, because I enjoy it when people have a bit of cadence in their voice, a bit of inflection. But why not add a face to that? Why not add some visuals to that? And I say visuals because some people might be thinking, well, I'm really not comfortable on video. Well, why not use animations? You can use this. It doesn't just have to be your face. There's lots of people online, particularly cooking channels, where you don't even see the face. It's a top view camera or phone of the hands while they're preparing their whatever Filipino adobo chicken or something like that. So it is readily available for all of us, with programs that are getting easier and easier to edit. So it's taken video making out of the hands of these hyper specialized experts in the field. And by the way, when I say this, if somebody's listening to this who is a video maker, or like an old school camera person or an editor, I don't think your job will go. I think there's a whole next level of video making and filmmaking, which people like you and me are probably not going to get into. We're too far away from that.
Yeah.
Having said that, the everyday video, like this is what we're doing now, send me a little video message. Why not? It's readily available, like I said. And I think more people should take advantage of that. And it's amazing that after so many years, we still use email. And even more amazing that we still use words like, I will write you an email. That makes no sense. We've been typing for 40, 50 years now, if not longer. Well, longer, actually. We still say write you an email. So we hang on to things from the past.
Yeah.
Without exploring the future, because the future is always a bit scary and, I can't do this. There's some limiting beliefs there.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful opportunity to use video. And particularly as a leader, if you're a big part of your role, I would assume is to communicate. I work with leaders all the time.
Yeah.
And how they communicate, what they say and how they say it is kind of crucial to how people feel about the organization, how the organization connects with customers. I think video is a great tool for that. So there's kind of a long-winded answer, but why not? Why not? It's readily available. It's never been easier, basically, and probably only will get easier as we go.
100%. And I feel that in society now, I think the majority of us, generally speaking, are used to video. This is the norm now, especially all of the scrolling and stuff that we do. And like you said, video is readily available to us all. You also said that it's so much more personal. I think you said that, or I wrote it down.
Yeah.
It is very much more personal. And I'm thinking, from a workplace perspective, and then Joeri, when you were talking, I went to my mom. So using society and my mom, hey mom, as an example, she'll love this. I have seen the change in her, let's say. So I'll give you the example of my mom. She's in her late 60s, pretty isolated. COVID was awful. She's on her own in the UK. As soon as my sister got her a smartphone, my mom's life and her social aspect of her life really blew up thanks to video. Things like WhatsApp, video calls, all that sort of stuff. So even old people like my mom can embrace video and technology in that respect. It's the most simplest form if you look at it that way. It is accessible. It is there for us all. And it connects us, which is the other thing that we always talk about from a workplace perspective, especially the larger the organization goes or, global, we need to be connected even more. And how do we do that? Through the medium of video.
Yeah, look, it doesn't replace human contact, because that's what we need. If there's one thing I've learned over the last couple of years, which I kind of knew and I think I really felt it, is we need personal touch. It's very simple. Like, we need to physically be around people. It changes us. And if you are finding yourself doom scrolling on social media, which I sometimes do, I go, shall I respond to this or not? Shall I? The best way to do it is just to step away from that machine and go outside. But we're not talking about that. It doesn't beat that. I get that. But it beats email. It beats boring slides. It beats so many traditional forms of communication which we have that can easily be replaced. You just brought up Leanne. And the Virtually Possible program that we did for the listeners. Virtually Possible came in the middle of the pandemic. Everybody's at home, didn't know what to do. So I don't know how to work on video. We had some experience. We set up this program to help people get better on camera. How do you set the technical aspect of it? How do you speak? How do you use multimedia? How do you use whiteboards? Things like that. It was very practical, very, very pertinent to that time. And Leanne and I set up that entire program through voice and video messages on WhatsApp. Now, for the listeners, I had never met her before. I just knew her from LinkedIn. We set up something. That's a good example of, with clever technology, why we're all cooped up at home. And with a couple of videos, we managed to set up something that was up and running, like a small business that is up and running with a bunch of customers. And that's the power of doing something like that. And I think you can only do that if you step away from the idea that video is for special people. I think one big thing that stops people with video is either you're a YouTuber or a TikToker or a news anchor or a celebrity. That's the first kind of limiting belief. That's nothing to do with that. And I think the other one is this whole, it has to be slick and well edited. So many times I explain something, I might have an early prototype. Let's say it's a physical prototype for clients. What easier way I can have I can call for a meeting, have pictures and slides up there, and we all get on Teams or on Zoom, and I can explain this is whatever. I worked on a brief around like reinventing a store, basically a new concept store.
Yeah.
So I could show that on slides and things during a meeting, or I asynchronously showed that we mocked up a little store made of cardboard boxes and kind of tables and stuff and a bunch of tape and posters. And I took a quick video and I said, so here's the idea of the store. Like people walk in over here and then over there we're going to have an oyster bar, etc.
Yeah.
And that was it. And there was a 60-second video, like no editing at all, just in an empty place in Singapore we'd set up. And people love that. They get it right away. Is everything you need in that one little video? No, but that's not the point of that video, because people might say, well, there's a time and a place for email. I agree.
Yep.
There's also a time and a place where a quick video or a call would be a lot better.
100%. Can we go back to limiting beliefs? Because I was in a funk. And okay, Joeri can be very direct, which is what I like.
No.
The Dutch and the Indians are similar in that respect. So Joeri, I don't think you even remember what you said to me, but it was direct. It was direct. Okay. I'm telling you. Okay, so my limiting beliefs when we spoke, or when we were doing the Virtually Possible course, was, oh my gosh, well, no, I can't put out, videos out there because I'm not a professional. I've just got a phone. And then the other thing I used to say to myself also is, but Joeri, it has to be good. It has to be professional. This is my brand. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, nobody cares. Is that what I said? Is that the one, right?
That is one thing. Nobody cares. Yep.
Yeah, kind of. And this is not mine. I probably heard somebody say this, but it always resonated with me because it's very true. Nobody cares. And the reason I know this, so the whole idea behind this is when people think it has to be perfect, or I need to look a certain way, or what if I put a video out there and people think I look silly, or or I say the wrong thing. And I always say the same thing. Nobody's going to watch your stuff in the beginning anyway, but this is in a social media context. So let's say there's somebody wants to create videos for LinkedIn or YouTube. Nobody's going to watch your stuff in the beginning. On the other hand, if it's just a video that, for instance, you send to other people, like nobody cares. It's about the message. Like just get over yourself, because everybody's focused on themselves anyway. And I know this because I used to shoot videos outside all the time. I would just go walk out and about and send people video messages. This, I sent you some.
Yeah.
I don't care. In the beginning, I thought, well, people are going to think I look weird. And then I thought, okay, and then what?
Yeah.
The world's not going to end. That to me is the biggest barrier when it comes to creating videos. But that comes from what I said before. That if you believe that video is only for certain people, or you think you sound weird, or your nose looks weird, I could tell you, you know what? It probably does, but you're the only one that notices it anyway. I also notice my nose and the way my hands move and the way my voice sounds. And everybody has this same cringe. And once you know that everybody's got the same cringe, it becomes an equalizer again. So do it anyway. And then the more you do it, the better you get. With almost anything in life, and you get very comfortable. Your videos will become better, so they'll become more engaging. They'll become clearer. You're able to convey your message easier, and that helps the viewer or the listener as well.
It's
win-win. But nobody cares. It is win-win.
Please remember that. Anyone listening, no one really cares, and it is so true. So big lesson there, which I still remember vividly.
Good.
Yep. Now you already talked about video as being a tool for collaboration. How can video be used as a better tool for creating engaging virtual meetings? I'm not talking about those painful ones. How can we use video better to be more engaging with those online meetings, Joeri?
Nice. I have a big thing about synchronous and asynchronous meetings. Everybody's on there at the same time.
Yeah.
Versus, let's say, an email you sent before or a video you sent before.
Yeah.
Combine the two when you can. I usually work with teams who are in different countries. Right now, I'm working on something here. It's a team where, if I think really quickly, I think the furthest one is in Indonesia, and the other side of the world will be in US, so Pennsylvania. Because of that, meetings can be a bit of a drag because of just purely time differences. And I think a lot of people can relate. So one way to mitigate against that is that you can cut your meeting times a lot shorter by using, let's say, videos up front. So for instance, if I have a demo I want to share So I've done something. I want to show what I've done. Why would I wait for everybody to be on the call, take the first 15 minutes talking through the context, how we got here and showing what we have, versus sending people a video early on, or it doesn't have to be video, I like pictures, whatever, but send people stuff before. On Friday, we're going to be looking at this. I want you to do two things. Be clear in your instructions. I've got a little video. I'm going to show you the store. So I want you to watch the video. And two, give me two things that you think that we should change to prepare for the meeting. Now, whether people do this or not, I mean, you can trick people into making, you can make sure people do it. Yeah. But what that does is people can watch it in their own time. Make sure, if you can, that it's in a format that's easy for people to watch anywhere. So what I mean with that is if they have to go onto a website and download something and then hop on there, it'll be harder. Send them via WhatsApp or Teams or whatever, something you have available. Send them a little link. There's lots of nice tools out there and freely available, just so you know. Send them that before. That by the time people rock up, they already know what to do. Or you make that even better. You use multimedia. You send a little video. Here's a layout of the store that we've designed. I want you to look at it, watch the video. Give me two things that we need to change. And then here's a link to a whiteboard. Put your ideas up here. Any kind of pictures you have of other examples you've seen in other stores, put it up here. And then on Friday, we're going to discuss. By the time people get there, you're not waffling on and on about a presentation people could have watched in their own time, which you don't have given them to do. Now you can use that time to just get to the point. And then your meetings will go from an hour to 20 minutes. Most of my meetings recently have been like 15 minutes because I prepare people. And I'm also, by the way, I'm quite strict with clients, just so you know, if you ever work with me, I will go, until you've done this, we are not going to do this. So until you've actually given your input on, I'm working on a video right now on a script, we're not going to have that meeting. So I think to make your meetings more engaging, I think is to make them shorter when you where you can, cut out the waffle, cut out the noise. And I know you can do this by using tools like video and other multimedia before and after as asynchronous tools that people can check in on. It just makes it a lot more engaging. It breaks up your meeting. It gives people time to think. I'm an extrovert, which means I think while I speak while I think. So I can look at something, kind of start blah, 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 blah already while I'm figuring out my thoughts. For a lot of people, they don't have that. And people feel missed out on meetings when they don't get that chance. So why not give them something early on? They can go internal, let that sink in, formulate their thoughts, and then come back to you. So in that case, I think it's just, that's what I said. I don't know why people are not using it more.
It's so much more inclusive in one respect, in that we all learn differently, and some people can blah, 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 like myself and Yuri, we can wing it. Others really need time to think, time to digest, and they can't think on the fly, which, nothing wrong with that either. We need those kind of deep thinkers for the other kind of thinking. So it enables others to do some pre-work or pre-reading, whatever it might be. I sometimes send some pre-reading, some podcasts to listen to beforehand, some questions beforehand to get you thinking, Yuri, right? That's all it is, to get the creative juices flowing so that the meeting is going to be effective. I think the other big thing you talked about is in relation to having those shorter meetings, whoever is the I guess the agenda owner of the meeting needs to manage it well. And it sounds like from your own experience and, the way that you work with your clients, you manage time well as well, because time is such a precious resource. And if wasted, people are going to resent you.
I think so. Time is the only resource you really have. I've always heard the only meaningful one, at least, and the one you're not going to get back. Be as respectful with people's times. At the same time, my own time management can be quite hard, because sometimes I can't just come up with a solution or with a plan from 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. It doesn't always work that way. I'm one of these creative people that needs to go for a walk, for a run, that needs to talk through my ideas. By the way, also a great way for video is sometimes I need to talk through something. I might just send a video to somebody who I know and to get a response from them. So it's a nice way to capture your thoughts, but at the same time get some feedback on those thoughts. But so because I don't have a lot of control over that time, I don't want to make sure that by the time we do get together, you make it really easy. And sprinklings of videos. We watch videos, I don't know how many hours of video. I think if you're a younger generation watches like 4 or 5 hours of video every day, for good or for bad reasons. I don't think it's all good.
Yep.
But why not use it? It's people will thank you for it. People will love you for it.
Totally. Now, Yuri, I talked about people being connected through video and us, getting on better, doing better work, all of that kind of stuff. Helping the thinkers, who are quick thinkers, slow thinkers, get their pace. But one thing I haven't talked about, and I want to ask you this question, does video actually exclude people? So you work with global teams with, I guess, English as your main language often.
Usually, yeah.
Does video exclude people? What have you come across?
What do you mean by exclude?
Okay, so let's say from a hearing perspective, a language perspective, is anything missed from a video perspective, in your opinion?
Heaps. There's lots missed from an email as well. There's lots missed from it. It is, right. So interesting point. So my mind went. The reason I ask you, like, what does it mean? Because I went this way, my thinking. I'll explain to you what that is, and then when I asked you what the meaning of it was, I went another way.
Cool.
I'll start with the second one, because you said people maybe people who have problems with hearing or something like that. I've never even thought about it that way. Okay, so when it comes to my video inclusion, if there's anybody here that goes, you don't cater enough for people that have poor hearing, I apologize. What I do have in my online content, and of course that's getting better and better, is subtitles.
Yes.
So you can cater for people with that. And nowadays, most of it is AI generated, and most of it you can switch languages. So hurrah for that, because you can set it to Portuguese and to whatever language that you want. So that's kind of cool. So my I didn't even think about it that way, but I don't personally, I don't cater for that enough. And maybe I should be more aware of that. I've not had anybody on my case for that saying you didn't cater for this.
Yeah.
So good point. Never even thought about that way. It got me thinking. I am going to think about that one. Where initially my point went, where my mind initially went was, I've seen a post on LinkedIn where the point was that if you use a video resumes, that was it. So I'm a big fan of video resumes.
Yeah.
People who don't know, video resume is, rather than sending a PDF document, you create a 1-minute video saying, hey, everybody, my name is Joeri. I'm here to apply for the job of ABC, and here's what. I've done that several times.
Yep.
I applied for the global head of innovation at Lego. And what happened was, you remember that one, right? So I always said, so I'm fairly unemployable for the listeners. I'm a for a variety of reasons. So I need a lot of freedom, basically. Not that wild, but I need a lot of space. I don't just run very well in small and closed spaces and corporate spaces. But I always said, if there's a job at Lego, I love Lego, grew up with this. I love what the company stands for, what they do, what they make, the quality of products, the messaging, everything. So I always said, if there's I don't really do jobs per se. However, if there's ever going to be a nice opportunity at Lego, I'm going to shoot for that one. There's a global head of innovation at Lego. It was a big job, big shoes. I didn't really think I was going to get it, not because of my skills, more because the role made more sense for an internal move. It's not somebody you would hire from the outside. It's too high risk. But hey, I'm high, like I said, nobody cares. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They go like, who's this dweeb sending a video? Okay, fine. Then don't like my stuff. Like, I care. I've got my 4 friends. I've got all I need. So I put together a video, and what happened was I had missed a deadline for application by a couple of, I think almost quite literally minutes. Got cut out of the system, an SAP system can no longer apply. So I quickly created a video over the weekend, and I basically sent it out into the world and got people to tag people within Lego and say, go check out this guy. I got a call back from somebody within Lego, very high up. I think he runs a creative play. It's like the big creative arm of Lego. I got a call back and basically said, look, I want to talk about the role. And one of his first point was that was really cheeky, but you got our attention. So video is a great way to stand out. And by the way, who knows, in 5 years when everybody's using video, going back to handwritten notes is going to stand out again. So I'm all, when they zag, you zig, or the other way around, something like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to video resumes or video CVs, it's an easy way to stand out. The point on LinkedIn was, it's not fair to people, because some people might be very uncomfortable on video. Some people might be very much aware of how they look. Some people are not as eloquent. They might not have the materials. And I think a lot of this came from an American point of view, which is much more we don't want to show our face because we don't want to be biased based on our skin tone or our gender, things like that. Fair enough. I don't know the American context. I've never worked in the US, as in I've never been employed in the US. I don't know about that. But I looked at it from a different point of view, where the point was it's not fair to people who, for instance, are not good on camera. And I said, well, how's that any different for me saying let's say I'm not, by the way, but let's say I'm dyslexic, I'm not good with writing. And if I send somebody a nicely word-smithed, word-crafted cover letter and a CV, well, I'm at a disadvantage because, one, English is not my first language, and two, I might have problems writing. Like, how's that any different?
Yeah.
And I had no answer to that one. So I thought that was a fair point to make. At least I think everybody should be able to use their tools to their advantage. And even if somebody says, well, isn't that an unfair advantage? Yes, that's right. I believe in making use of unfair advantages. I mean, don't be a dick about it, but there is a way to use what you have and to use that in a smart way. So does it, I think your question is more about like, does it hinder people? Does it exclude people?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah, it probably does. However, I think particularly in the Western world, all of us have this thing. So in that case, it's commoditized. It's not that much like you can't do this because I have a phone and you don't. Yeah. You could make a case for maybe somebody with more financial resources, maybe more time in this. But I think that can be said about anything out there. It's an unfair advantage that I get the time to sit here chatting to you, which, gets me plugged into more people around the world. Yeah. Sure. But I think, no, I think everybody's got a fair chance to use it. I don't think everybody has to use it, by the way.
No.
I think you can. It's just one of the things that's out there. I don't think you have to. You don't have to do anything.
That's the thing. So, okay, one of the other things I have been helping many organizations with, Joeri, and you might come across this in the work that you do as well. There's 5 generations in a workplace now. 5 generations working in a workplace. So this is me 100% generalizing. So please pinch of salt, okay, when you're listening to this or watching the video. Let's say generalization, and please salt pinching, going. The younger ones are far more able with technology, and the older ones are less able. Generalization, huge generalization there. But generally speaking, that's what's happening. And now organizations are bringing in all of this different kind of technology, which includes, different forms of video tech as well, Joeri. And they're saying, shit, this is not working. What would you say to them with the quandary that they have? Age, youngies, oldies, and the gap in between in relation to technology. Advice for organizations, because they're going gangbusters on, systems and, oh my gosh, contracts which last for years upon years. They're locking into these tech systems. Joeri, your thoughts?
I just talked about using things to your advantage.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to use video. By the way, you don't have to use video for everything. Like in many cases, just call somebody, honestly. Like you don't have to create a video to ask Prina where she's going for lunch. I mean, you just call Prina and say, shall we go for lunch somewhere, right? So there's a time and a place. There are tools available at your disposal. And I made the point earlier, they've been commoditized. They've been freed up for people like you and me to use. Yeah. Whether you have a fancy phone or not, we all have a camera in our hands.
Yeah.
It's up to people to learn new things or not. I would argue that it's never been easier to learn things. Learning is at the tip of your fingers because of something called the internet, where people have spent millions of hours. And I know because one of my 3-minute videos can take me 10, 15 hours to put together, but people spend millions of hours, if not trillions of hours, putting together content to help you do something. It's either there to entertain you or solve a problem. So there are videos out there around how can you create, let's say all you have is a camcorder. Remember those things, those big bricky things from the 90s? Let's say all you have is a camcorder. I bet you there's videos online that say, how can you use your old camcorder as a webcam? Or how can you use your old camcorder to create a video in 2024? Yeah. So there's little excuse when it comes to gear or knowledge available. And the next point is, do you want to use it? And there we are back at the limiting beliefs. If you believe that you're too old to learn something, well, you probably are. If you believe something's not going to work, you're probably right. It's the same thing here. I started video making at the tender age of 40. I turned 47 yesterday. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu last year and I got my first stripe. You can learn anything at any time. Yes, there's limitations to age, and yes, and when you and all your friends are surrounded by social media and devices, of course they're going to be better. I don't doubt that. To my earlier point, we don't ask you to be Martin Scorsese. We don't ask you to be the next PewDiePie or Mr. Beast YouTuber. All we're saying is use that little device in your pocket to your advantage and communicate in a way that's asynchronous and is more available and acceptable for other people. That's all we're saying. So when it comes to the age gap, you know what? If you believe there's an age gap, it's probably true. If you believe there's not, it's probably true as well. My only caveat here would be just understand that people are at different levels. And I think those levels are not necessarily connected to age. I think it's more about how they look at video. I think that's a bigger barrier.
Good point.
And just be open to them not jumping on the bandwagon right away, because it is intimidating for many people. I mean, I take it for granted because I shoot a video now. If I shoot a video on my phone to you, Prina, it's a one shot. I'm a one shot wonder because I do it so often. So if you ask me to speak on a camera and get a point across in one go without umming and erring, yes, I can. I've also created like 800 or maybe 1,000 videos. So anybody can learn things like that. The question is more whether you want to or not.
We're leaning towards the next question in that case then. So we're talking about the other thing that often goes missing within the workplace when we've got all of these wonderful, sexy new systems is, here you go, Joeri, just deal with it and learn how to use it yourself. There's a missing piece. There's a missing piece in training and upskilling people to use said technology. So, I mean, this is one of the things you really help myself with, and I know you help people across the world with this as well, not just video, but beyond. But my question specifically is, how can organizations effectively train their teams to use video or communication tools just to ensure that people are proficient and comfortable with tech? That's the other thing as well, Joeri.
Nice. That is an excellent question. I have a very simple answer to it. Just start doing it and remove the structures that are getting in the way of this. And I'll start with the structures and then I'll talk about just get doing it. Okay. The structures is, if you want people to start using video, let's say I talked about a video resume. I put together a video resume, a little link to a video. But let's say the only way I can upload my interest in the role is through an SAP system that only allows PDF uploads.
Yes.
Well, what am I going to do then? By the way, it's happened before. In that case, I add a PDF image, and on the bottom, I add a QR code and say, don't click this QR code, and everybody does. And then it gets to a video of me going, so you clicked on the video. Hey, you got to be creative for these kind of things. So the first thing is structures. Make sure that the structures are in place. If you want people to, let's say, use more video on a project, I'll give you an example to like share. Let's say you're doing some consumer research. You're going out into the field. You go out and speak to, dare I say, people. I don't like to call them consumers. They are humans too. And you want to create some videos for that to play back to the team or to share with other consumers. Well, you need to have a way to send those videos through, right? It's either going to be through a WhatsApp, maybe it's a Teams, but make sure the infrastructure is in place so people can actually do this, because it's easy to say you want to do something, but if you don't have the infrastructure, nothing's really going to change there. So that's my first angle, of making sure they have that. And the other one I said is to just go and do it. Yeah. Because figure out how video works for you. It might not work the same way for you as it does for me. And I'll give you an example here. I worked with a technical team. Who brief other technical people around a simple process. Okay. The way so for instance, they have a new machine that puts cookies in boxes, whatever, and then seals it and the golfer belt. Okay. There are instructions around how to pack a box or how to turn on that machine or how to operate it. Yeah. Sure, you can have manuals. The traditional way is a manual, like a physical. I still have a manual because we talked about a camcorder. I still have a manual to my Panasonic DV something, which is a 1998 camcorder. It's a manual. And remember, it was like in 17 different languages, in German, French, Spanish, whatever. So making sure that people know how to use this used to go through a massive manual, which, by the way, people like me never read. My guess is you're the same. So you start playing around with this. However, for these technical briefs, my point was, why don't you use videos? And there are great video tools. They're called screencasting, where you can imagine you could show slides.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube, it's like this. And you can put your face or not. You don't have to turn on the camera, but you could talk through slides. So you have your slides on the screen. You make a quick video recording. A tool like Loom, Loom. It's a free tool. I wish I invented it. It's not mine. Put it in the show notes. Play around with things like that. You can show let's say like the 3-step technical something, how to put that box together, how to put the boxes on the pallet through a little video. And it's a 1-minute video that will show people because you've gone out, you've done this on your phone. And if you're not comfortable with video, you can do pictures and talk over pictures. That's already an improvement. And then that manual turns into a 1-minute video. Really simple tools. So finding out which tools work for you, and then making sure you've got the infrastructure in place to make sure that they can actually share that. So for people getting up and running and they don't know how to do this, use whatever you have and then figure out. You might go, hey, we want better videos because we send videos to our clients. So we want something that looks a bit better. Great, take a course. You can there's heaps of courses out there. There's also free courses out there. You can learn to put subtitles under there or how to cut. Yeah, there's like really basic things that you can learn. But start playing with something, because very often is this the right way? How are we going to use this? That conversation can stifle it. Yeah. And it's all connected, by the way, people, to my nobody cares connected to that. So just do it anyway, because what's the worst thing that can happen? It's okay.
Boom. 100%. Systems are often, or structures, as you called it, are often the downfall of an organization, Joeri. So I'm working with a number of organizations who have, their systems locked down and firewalls and all of that. I get it. You have to do that. But then externals like us consultants who come in and we've had a brilliant session and we've recorded it and it's a global team. To get past those hurdles, sometimes I feel like I become IT's best friend to learn their systems, to bypass whatever. And that's just something that happened earlier. So absolutely. But the thing here I'm trying to say in a long-winded way is that you can get around it. You just need to talk to the right people and find out. It can be done. 100%. It can be done.
And don't force it. I mean, if some CEO comes in and says, oh, I've got an epiphany, listen to Prina's podcast. I'm all into video right now. As of tomorrow, no more emails. We're going to do everything over video. It makes no sense. That makes zero sense. So find appropriate ways. But maybe one way to get started is to give people the option. Yeah. Right? Give people the option, because some people don't want to do this. You don't want to force it upon them. I wouldn't want to be forced. Well, you have to use this, because unfortunately that sometimes happens. But give people the option to communicate in different ways. Be open for that. So let's say that you pitch ideas, your internal Christmas party or your Hari Raya or your Diwali or whatever you celebrate. You have an internal, pitching ideas for the Christmas party, for the office party. Be open for somebody to go, hey, rather than doing, 9 slides, we created a 30-second video. You can't then just go like, no, everybody should stick to PowerPoint. Be open for that. That's, and then see where that takes them.
That's cool, because the world is not going to end. Absolutely so.
No.
Now, Joeri, you're very in touch with all things tech beyond me and my brain. Magic, the magic sauce. You have the magic sauce, Joeri. Clearly, that's your business. Do you have any insights? So looking ahead, what trends do you see in definitely video communication, and any other trends in terms of this kind of technological communication that our audience would really benefit from? What's coming up? Any tips that you have as well, Joeri?
Genius. The word of the last few years, artificial intelligence, AI, is only going to get bigger. I play around with a couple of tools and I'm not even that deep into them. Yeah. But there are new tools that are pretty clever. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you want to do a promo video. I saw one of a car the other day. So let's say you have a new car or new, whatever it is, right? A new packaging or a new set of headphones or a new service even. You have something there. Yeah. And rather than you having video, this AI basically takes your 15 videos. So imagine a car, you take a bunch of different angles from the car, a little close up of the bumper and then the backside and the door opening.
Yeah.
And then AI just puts that together into a montage with music over it and transitions. That is, look, it's not what professionals do. I look at that and I kind of, I can do a better job. But for something that's free and that's available is a game changer.
Yeah.
AI isn't all there yet. I know it's not really all there yet, but it is it's a nice direction we're going, because it's leveling the playing field. And for professionals listening to this saying, well, AI sucks and it's just not the same. I agree. In many cases, it isn't. It's not going to replace our level of skill and creativity, at least not yet. It might later on, I don't know. And then it's up to us to move the goalpost again. But for most people who creating a video was unimaginable. So I'll give you an example. And again, I only started a couple of years ago. Imagine you started video in the 80s. Imagine the computer you would need. So now you're still dealing with film, first of all, and the equipment that you need to even do this. Think about the camera, the film, et cetera, et cetera. Now take it to a digital era. Now we're going from a film to bytes, right? We're going to data and digital. But even then, the early days, the programs you needed, a lot of stuff was not available. Internet super slow, connection super slow, computers are slow comparatively to now. I mean, that made it so much harder. Again, there's studios on here. And even the studio I use to edit is Final Cut Pro. It's just an Apple product. And by the way, if you're sitting here listening, you're thinking, what software should I use? They're basically the same. It's like driving a car. Whether you drive a Nissan or a Honda or a Mercedes, it doesn't really matter. There are some differences, but just get started somewhere. Whether you're using CapCut on your phone, iMovie, Adobe Premiere, or Final Cut Pro, there's a couple of main programs. But even Final Cut Pro, it's $500, like $400. It's an investment.
Yeah.
And the next step will be basically free, because they're probably stealing your data. But it's basically free. It's basically free, and you can do lots of stuff with this. You can really easily add music underneath. You could take a couple of photos and turn it into a quick montage, which can also be interpreted as a video. You can add your own little face in between explaining things. I think those will be the bigger things, because it's really changing the game in terms of you don't have to go to agencies anymore. There is a time and a place for that. I guess, the $1 million video, if you're a big brand, if you're a big beer brand, a big car brand, I get that. Nothing wrong with this. We're talking internal communications.
Yeah.
And you want to pitch an idea. Why not use a ChatGPT-4 that can create images? So I can say, it's a 3-wheeled car and the concept is this, and I want it in these colors. Create a couple of AI images, throw it in another bit of AI, which can then turn it into a montage. You add some music, and there you go. Now you got a 20-second montage of your store, or of that new yogurt you want to put in the market, of people in Japan being very happy with your service that you're delivering there. Why not use that? That's, I think, will be the not the next frontier. It's already happening. I think that's exciting. I'm not sure about AI. It's a big conversation. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I have my own thoughts about them. They're not all like, yeah, it's amazing. However, I do think for me to be credible speaking about it, you have to use it. I don't take people seriously when they say something doesn't work. My first question would be, have you used it? And if they say no, play with it first. And then you find out. Make up your own mind.
Joeri, you haven't talked about it, but this scares me, but it excites me as well in terms of the potential uses of it. Deepfake. Do you know much about, could you describe what deepfake is and the pros from a workplace perspective? Let's not talk about society, because that's a whole different conversation. Deepfake, what is it and how can we utilize it at work for positive gain?
Okay, not an expert here, but as far as I know what a deepfake is, the best example, or like one of the earlier examples I've seen, is there was a talk by Jennifer Lawrence of the Hunger Games. She does a presentation for some award that she got.
Right.
And then on her face, so looks like Jennifer Lawrence in a dress, sounds like Jennifer Lawrence, but her face is Steve Buscemi. If you don't know Steve Buscemi, just watch The Big Lebowski and stuff, or Nucky Thompson in Boardwalk Empire. So they had not even superimposed you can barely see the difference. It is Jennifer Lawrence talking,
Wow.
Jennifer Lawrence's body, but the face and the facial expressions is Steve Buscemi. And this video, I think, is probably almost 10 years old.
Really?
Okay. That was one of the first ones I saw. And that was kind of early days. And it's probably been going on early. Who knows, whatever organizations and agencies have been working with this for years before.
Oh, yeah.
But that was complete mindfuck, because it was, your brain is going, well, wait a minute, this makes no sense. Now add 10 years to that, and now we get to a point where it's getting pretty accurate. So there's somebody I follow on Instagram, his videos are hilarious, who puts Arnold Schwarzenegger in everything. So you hear the sound of music, but now it's the sound of music by Arnold. It's a horrible impression, but even his voice is accurate. So it's the sound of music, on the hill, and the hills are alive with the sound of music, but then with Arnold, the voice and the face, and it's real. It's ridiculously real. You can barely see the difference. Now, clearly, you know that Arnold wasn't in the Sound of Music, but to your point, when does it get scary? What if you take a more realistic example of somebody committing, let's say, a robbery, right? And I have your data from, let's say that, particularly for the reason it's so big for celebrities and people we know is because there's a lot of data to pull from. There's a lot of videos out there by whatever, Angelina Jolie or something. There's a lot of information about her.
Yeah.
You can pull a voice left and right, and based on that data set, an AI can create a voice replication. And by the way, if anybody listening to this into AI, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but this is how I understood it. So that's kind of deep fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know. But deep fake is that level, and that can have very scary implications. However, I have a kind of a simplistic point of view on tech. Like, I did a talk on technology years ago, and my point was simply, technology is like a knife. In the hands of most people, it's fine. In the hands of the wrong people, it's a very dangerous tool. And that's the same with any technology. You could say the same with a car. Oh my God, we're letting everybody drive. Or what if somebody wants to use that car as like a massive self-propelled rocket, like a kamikaze? Yeah, it's true. We're all driving. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But it's getting very, very accurate. And who knows what it's going to look like in 10 years. Now, how can you use this? I'll give you a great example.
Yeah.
Working on a video, big internal comms thing.
Yeah.
Working on a video. We just did a sample of the video. It's like not a corporate video, but like a story of like a company, what they're doing.
Yep.
So I have a script. So the first thing we do is we make sure that we get a sign off on the script. And once we have the sign off on the script, only then do we put together the video, to avoid that we're creating a video and they go like, oh, actually, can we just change this person to that person? It's a bigger change than people think. Maybe with AI in the future, it isn't. We can just change the dress like that. I don't know. At this point, it isn't. So we did a quick sample. And I use a text-to-speech AI, heaps of them, free ones. Google has one.
Yeah.
So you can have your text read out by somebody. Now, a couple of years ago, they all sounded like Stephen Hawking. They had that very monotonous robotic voice. You could clearly hear it's not a real human voice. It's getting scarily accurate. You can barely hear the difference. There's a couple of words every now and then it says that is not accurate. So I'll give you an example. I watched a video yesterday. I hadn't even noticed. I thought it was somebody actually talking in that American documentary voice. And at one point it said enable it. And I went, okay. So it's enabled, but it says enable it. So there's words out there you kind of go, aha, I got you. But honestly, that will be a matter of weeks, I think, before they correct that. Or you can correct it yourself. You can type it in the way you would say it. Let's say a company name or somebody's name, and it will correct it. But here comes the kicker. So speech to text, you can do a quick rough and ready. And I even told the clients, if you want, we can just use an AI voice. We can save cost on getting a voice actor in. Sure, a voice actor will be better if you're listening there and you're a voice actor and you think, don't talk crap, Joeri, because this is silly. I'm sure it's a skill, but it's definitely one of these skills that is under threat for sure. Yeah. So, either move with it or move around it kind of thing. So the kicker is really accurate within seconds. So in the text, it reads it out. You can change the pace, male, female, older, younger. You can do accents now. So you can have somebody who is from an Indian English voice or a mainland China, like a more like Mandarin, Northern Chinese English. They sound different from Southern Chinese when they speak English. So it's getting there. You can do celebs. I sent it to the client with, I think we used David Attenborough in there, but they also had Snoop Dogg, they had Donald Trump, they had a whole bunch of like iconic voices. If you hear them,
Oh my
you're like,
God.
oh my God, I know exactly who that is. And that is cool. Use it to your advantage. Why not? Why not pitch your idea in front of a room? Let's say that you've got this new, whatever, this new solution for a big tech company, and everybody's pitching their ideas on slides and Excel sheets. You've got a 1-minute video. Hey, my name is Arnold. Let me tell you why this is the best technology. Right?
Yep.
Is it
Attention.
a bit cheeky, and is it a bit like, oh my God, I could never do that in meetings? Well, then don't, or do it. But why not? Have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
Use it to your advantage. Go play around with this. Just Google some stuff and see where it takes you.
It's amazing. There's so much potential, so much good future potential. I was thinking deepfake and AI and all of that, especially from a training perspective and, creating a learning culture as well, Joeri. Now,
Yeah.
Joeri, I could talk to you forever, but I've got one very important question for you. If
I am married. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Not that question. Not that question. I know you're married. If I was to hand you a magic wand, Mr. Joeri of the Magic Source, what is one way that you would change the way of the workplace?
Start using video now. Everybody, right now. Magic wand. If everybody just creates one little video and send a little video to your loved ones to tell them you love them. Send a video to your colleague to say, hey, just want to send you a quick video before we sit on that Zoom meeting on Friday afternoon. Create one little video to connect with your customers and say, we really appreciate you and we just want to wish you a happy Year of the Dragon. Create a video to your teams if you're maybe at the helm of one of these organizations to say what the plans are for this year. Create a quick video to show what you do, because a lot of people don't know what some of the maybe marketing teams do or tech teams do. Do something today, just a 30-second video. Don't worry what you look like. You're going to look probably better on video than you do in real life anyway. So just use that to your advantage.
Exactly.
Add a filter if you want. But just play around with this. What's the worst thing that can happen? People might go, oh, he sounds a bit funny on video. Who cares? Like, nobody cares.
No one cares. And if you're feeling really uncomfortable and if you want to share the love, please do tag Joeri, tag myself on your video, and we will celebrate you. Just do it.
Yes.
Joeri,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun because I love talking about video. It's my way of communicating with the world. It used to be music. I played in bands for many years. I was a singer, guitarist of Rage Against the Karaoke Machine. And now I create videos. And I think it's a lovely medium. I've really embraced it. I'm learning about it every day. There's no end to the learning. It's a great way to tell stories. And if it is something for you, then know that you probably have a little device in your pocket with which you can do this right now. Nothing's stopping you.
Perfect. Until the next time, Joeri, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Prina.
Sign up to my newsletter, which is detailed in the show notes, if you stand against crappy cultures, lousy leaders, and toxic teams. And I'll see you in the next episode.